My husband was leading a double life and I had no idea. He was an investment banker that had a seemingly regular life, but secretly he had a thriving second one. He had a wife and kids that he supported, but alongside that he was dealing drugs and making a large sum of money from it. I started to suspect that something was going on when I noticed he was receiving calls that he wouldn't answer. Whenever I'd ask him who he was talking to, he'd always brush the questions off and say it wasn't anything important. Shortly after I found out who he was talking to, I started to suspect that something fishy was going on. He would leave the house in the late evening and come back with lots of cash. When I asked about it, he'd always tell me it was from a guy at work. I eventually discovered the truth when I followed him out one night and saw him getting into a car with two shady-looking guys. I quickly figured out his second life was much bigger and darker than I could imagine. I started to look at our financials and discovered that he was making a lot more money than he told me about. He was getting large deposits from unknown sources and making large cash withdrawals. When I asked him about it, he said I was being paranoid and he got the money from his job. I was nervous and scared. I knew that something was not right. After months of suspicion and research, I confronted him, and sure enough, he had been living a second life. I was heartbroken as I knew this lifestyle was very dangerous and risky. But I also knew I couldn't stand in the way of something he had committed to. After what felt like hours of discussion, he agreed to leave his double life behind for my sake and the sake of the family. While I was disappointed and angry, I was also relieved that he was willing to make the change. He stopped dealing drugs and went back to focusing on his job and our family. This was a difficult transition for him, and he had to adjust to the lack of income. With my support, he was eventually able to become financially stable again. We both know that it was a dangerous situation, and we were lucky that things ended relatively peacefully. I'm proud of how far we have both come and how much stronger our relationship is now. Our marriage is now much deeper and more meaningful than it was when he was living a double life. We now talk openly about our past and have learned from it.